So, like I said, your book is really thought-provoking, and reading it myself and listening to you now, there's something that really frightened me. Like, for example, the use of technology there. And also, I was reminded of Thomas Hobbes' idea of the Leviathan, the powerful state that emerged to maintain order and security. But in our world today, especially since the COVID day, I did write some article before called Government as a Leviathan during the COVID-19. And I felt that we are witnessing the rise of a digital Leviathan. I have to point something that I derived from just reading, but not in the flesh and blood, but from data, algorithms, and biometric control. And that is something that is really coming from your work. And the migration issue, just like the pandemic, it mirrors reflecting how states manage fear, risk, and control, right? Yet, you also show that there are acts of resistance and alternative visions that are emerging, reminding us that technology doesn't have to serve domination alone. It can be reimagined toward justice and humanity, right? So I also noted that there is an urgent need to discuss on how to regulate these technologies that are emerging as a guiding principles. For example, promoting the values that we care about, like, for example, our humanity, putting humans first, reducing suffering, and making the world a better place, at least not delivering a net harm, okay? Which brings us to the mind-boggling question, how do we reconcile technological innovation and efficiency with the moral responsibility to protect migrants' dignity and privacy?
Yeah, that's important question. So so it's not just one-sided. So everything has its opposite side. So but so the important thing is we shouldn't just blame AI or blockchain. So these are just technologies. So they don't have that agency, and it's easier to create the shade power holders as well. So and people think that if it is AI, it can be objective. So and it's something that we can see in our daily lives. If you are stopped by a border police, for example, you can maybe resist. You can think that person is a racist, or you can go to the court. All this kind of stuff you can do, and you can. But when you are stopped by an AI, or when you are fired by an AI, then it gives an impression that there's a kind of a legitimacy there. This data, something is calculated and measured, and then I'm not good at for that. So you don't really define yourself, and you don't think that AI is a kind of racist, or AI is a kind of exploitative. But that's not true, because these are reflecting our society. They are mimicking our society. So if you are society is unequal, then the AI will bring unequal results, because it's based on data. It doesn't have an agency. You put all the data, you give all the thresholds, all the principles, and then it creates this decision. So so drug is a problem everywhere, for example, but it is very difficult to go and stop or search drug in wealthy areas. It's much better to go to the poorer areas. So it's not related to the drug usage. It's about the social inequalities, for example, here. And then if you put this data to the AI, then they will, and want them to predict crime, they will target the poor neighborhoods or minorities. So that's very normal. So we should understand this. So it's not about these technologies. These technologies are great technologies. They are incredible. But it is used against us. You have this technology, and you are preparing for warfare. So that's something that we should discuss. So I think these technologies can be used very effectively for humanitarian emergencies to help people. We were working at a project for World Food Program, how to use data to calculate the cash transfer during the emergencies, because you have to send that money, you have to send that aid as soon as possible. So it can be used like social media or satellite data or other data sources, so we can go in a more prepared way. So you can use it. Also, migrants and refugees use them very frequently. We all use social media, for example. It's a great tool for integration or to meet with your friends, to understand where you go or what you should do, in a completely different country. If you're on the move, you can easily find your way with all these navigation applications. So these are perfect tools. And migrants are using them, so they can go from one place to another, and then they can overcome smart borders, or they can show some sort of solidarity with each other. So they are using this in the grassroots level. But I think it's important to discuss. Still, there's a danger for that, and I think most migrants and refugees are aware of that. So they still keep secrets or they still take actions because the social media is surveilled, so the police forces or intelligence forces can get information about them. But still, we can say that if there is, migrants can find a way to overcome challenges, or people can find way to oppose anything that they face. So that's possible. But still, also we should discuss the technology, and we should discuss the system. And it's not just about, I think, discussing ethics, privacy. They are very important topics. So migrant rights, asylum seekers' rights, these are very important, but that's not enough, I think. We should discuss more about that. So it's not just about the ethical issues of the technology companies, they just hire someone responsible for ethics and then they take some action, but this doesn't really change a lot of things. So I think it's to understand, okay, why these, for example, right to seek asylum is rejected, why protecting privacy is very difficult. Couldn't be any alternative model to the surveillance capitalism, to generate revenue, these are some of the questions that we should ask. Many people ask these questions, but I try to contribute to this discussion as well.